Hello, my name is Emily Traster, and I am here today with Dan Dalton, one of the founding partners of Dalton and Tomish. Dan has helped a number of churches leave the United Methodist denomination and keep their property. How are you today, Dan?
Doing great, Emily. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. So Dan, now that the General Conference is canceled, the Global Methodist Church has announced its formation on May 1st. Can a local Methodist church simply join the Global Methodist Church and leave the UMC?
Great question. And that's one that we're getting from lots and lots of potential clients and people who are interested in wanting to leave the United Methodist Church. I want to preface this answer by letting you know that what I'm telling you today, March 10th of 2022, may change. Things change quickly in denominations and within the conferences, and even as applied by district superintendents. So what I'm telling you today may not apply in the future. But what I can tell you today is that you cannot simply just have a vote with your local church and say, we're gone. You can't get the church together and say, we want to leave, and now we're part of the Global Methodist Church. And there's a couple reasons for that. The first one is that your bishop in the annual conference has to let you go. So there's two ways out of the denomination right now. There's the 2553, that's the tailored disaffiliation plan, and that's a negotiated resolution through the conference trustees. And ultimately, your annual conference has to vote on letting you out. The second way is, I call it the Hotel California rule, that you can join the Methodist denomination, but you can never leave. Under 2549(3)b, your bishop can declare your church as in exigent circumstances and close the church, remove the leaders, and seize the assets. And that's another way out as well. And then you basically have to buy your property back on fair market value or whatever the bishop decides. That's his or her decision. If you simply just call your district superintendent and bishop up and say, you know what, our church has decided to leave the United Methodist Church and join the Global Methodist Church when it forms on May 1st, it's not going to go well for you because at that point in time, the bishops are going to exercise 2549(3)b to let you out. We've heard today, for example, that there are some bishops out there that will not recognize 2548, which is the provision a lot of folks are looking at, to allow local churches to leave the Methodist Church and join the Global Methodist Church once it forms in May. Bishop Nunn, for example, who's in Oklahoma as well as North Texas and one other conference, declared in a webinar that was just released on March 8th that he does not believe that 2548 is a valid constitutional method for local churches to leave the United Methodist Church. He's declared it to be a racist provision for whatever reason. So based on that, in his interpretation, you can't use that provision in those three conferences. And it's significant because the North Texas Conference did a straw poll and voted to join the Global Methodist Church en masse once it forms. So it's not going to let you, Bishop Nunn's not going to let you go. Now, having said that, the Council of Bishops have requested the Judicial Council to make a decision quickly as to whether local annual conferences can leave versus 2548. With independent churches, that question's not before the Judicial Council. So if you're in one of the conferences Bishop Nunn's in, and he's a traditional bishop, traditional in theology, you're not going to be able just to leave when you want to without any type of any thought process or any involvement with the conference. So whatever you do, just don't give your conference a notice that we're leaving without taking advantage and going through the different processes that exist today. When these religious property dispute cases first started with the Episcopal churches back around 2004 through 2010, there were a number of local former Episcopal churches that did exactly what was being talked of today, which is just notifying their diocese that they were leaving and becoming independent or joining another denomination. It didn't go well for any of those churches. They all lost their property. You still need to go through a process. You still need to protect your assets. whatever you do, don't rely on whatever denomination you're going to protect you. You have to think of this as protecting yourself first. You have to make sure that what you're doing is that you are taking a hard look at your individual local church and how you best protect it. And the best thing you can do, in my opinion, is to leave the annual conference using a process similar to 2553 or 2553 itself, and become independent. And then later, then make that decision if you're going to join another denomination or the Global Methodist Church. Do that. Don't wait for a denomination to do the work for you. They just won't, or they can't. And quite frankly, they're not interested in helping you do that, from what I've seen as of today. But just take those steps to protect your assets now, and work with somebody that knows what they're doing on this particular process. This is a very niche area of the law, and there's so many nuances to understand, and it's not like you can pick up a book and figure this stuff out. It's just kind of institutional memory that we have and other specialized attorneys have to help you through this process. So again, you cannot just get up and leave and go to the Global Methodist Church and expect good things to happen, because it won't. You'll lose your property, you'll lose your assets, you'll lose your leader, and you'll find yourself on the receiving end of really no assistance from anybody else at that point in time. So please, whatever you do, get some good counsel on this matter as to how to protect yourself individually, and then move out through that perspective. Now, having said all that, things may completely change. You know, we don't know how this process is going to work out. It's a fluid situation. I don't know what's going behind closed doors and discussions with conferences right now in bishops and the whole 9 yards. I'm not there. I'm just telling you what I know as of March 10th, 2022. It's not a free pass at this moment in time. I don't see it being a free pass in the future. I see that local churches are still going to have to go through a process to leave the denomination. I would encourage you to think through that before you just simply sign and send a statement saying that we're leaving the denomination, because it's just not going to go well for you.
As always, thank you for your insight, Dan. If your church is looking to leave the United Methodist denomination and would like Dan's assistance, please call our office today to set up a consultation. Thank you.